Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with a special edition of the IT Business Podcast. This is the show for IT professionals and managed service providers. We help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. And the reason this is a special episode is because it's not the regular live show. It's not a regular podcast. But I wanted to take a special time to talk about some of the stuff that I'm doing. As many of you may have heard, if you're a regular listener to this show, I've taken the summer off. I've not been doing conferences since early June, and I've been focusing on the business. I am an MSP, so I got to make sure that stays afloat and the bills keep getting paid. So some of the things that I have been doing is looking at some additional products, and Cork is one that, listen, I've talked to them over the years, and they're nice people, and I thought, is this really something that I'm going to use? And for a long time, the answer was, nah, not really. I can usually see in my dashboard if I've got everything covered, and my customers were doing their own cyber insurance and thought everything was good, but have been hearing some good things about the way that Cork is being able to be integrated into the stack. And they've got this new thing where, well, it wasn't new before. It was always agentless, but that was, of course, one of the things that I liked because I just didn't need another agent in my environment. So agentless, something that is really not a hassle. You can just simply add all your stuff through the API. They've always had the cyber warranty component, either 100,000 or 500,000. And I think that was one of the things that I was hesitant on because when I looked at the monthly cost and what the reward was, I guess, in the sense of that warranty, my customers were able to go out and get regular cyber insurance for a set amount each year. And they're like, well, we don't want to pay extra monthly for this. So that was a thing there. So I'm going to ask some more questions about that. But I need to let you guys know that I actually did sign up for Cork earlier this year and have been trialing it. I think I am on week 3. It must be a 14-day trial because I actually just got my first bill, and I've got about half my clients in there being tracked, and some good stuff. And I do like the fact that there is a daily summary that I get in the email each day. So it kind of tells me if there's any new events, any resolved events, and stuff like that. But of course, I still have questions. And this is a good thing because, listen, I get pitched a lot of products. I know some of you out there, we always get pitched products. And it's not until you're actually able to look at them, evaluate them, and see, does this really work for me? I think that Cork does. But before I even did the trial, I had been talking to Nick at one of the conferences, forget which one, probably IT Nation or something. And he said, yeah, we got to get on the show. I've got people on here that can help you understand how to do it better. So Nick Wolf is going to be joining me. And then I also have an MSP that has been using Cork for a lot longer than me that's going to help me understand this. So first up, let me introduce Nick Wolf from Cork. He's the one that finally talked me into doing this, and he is going to join the show. Nick, welcome.
Great to be on again, Marv. Happy to see you again.
All right. Are you feeling better about being on this time than all the others?
Yeah, absolutely. We finally were able to swipe your card and get you on as a partner.
Yeah.
Being in sales, you have to be persistent, but you don't want to be annoyance either. So
Right.
I think you'll notice, even though we were talking originally probably about a year or so ago, it was just the occasional email follow up or check in. I wasn't leaving you a voicemail every other day as an annoying sales rep. So always want to build value as a sales professional.
And you weren't just automatically sliding appointments into my calendar either, which that has happened in the last week, and that's going to be another show.
Oh boy. Yeah, don't do that. As a sales rep, do not do that.
Yeah. Let me also introduce an MSP that has worked with you guys. Chris Bond is joining us. And Chris, I didn't have your company name here. It's Innovative Technology Solutions, right?
Yes, that's right. Marv, I'm glad to join. It was nice meeting you at PAX 8, and glad to join today and tell a little bit about our experience with Cork.
All right. Well, glad to hear that. And I'll say this: one of the reasons that kind of put me over the edge is you happened to be at the booth at the time that I think I'd already done my swag run, so I was actually stopping and actually chatting with Nick, and we were talking about the changes in the platform and stuff. And Nick tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Dude,
Yep.
tell the guy what you've been doing with it." And
Yep.
you were probably a little more zealous than I would normally like. But it was good, and glad that you're able to join us today. Nick, before we get too far along, for people that do not know Cork, I'm sure that I did not give it the proper introduction in terms of how I would, tell people what Cork is. Cyber warranty is probably too simple of a term. So describe to us what Cork is.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, we were founded about 2 to 3 years ago by Austin McCord, the founder of Datto. And there's really two main offerings that we have. Number one is going to be an active risk insights compliance monitoring platform that ties into all of your different cybersecurity tools, your RMM, your EDR, your backup, your MFA, etc. From there, we can determine if anything got missed along the way with your onboardings and offboardings. Say there's a device out there that has RMM installed but doesn't have EDR installed. We're able to pick up on that. Or maybe there's a user out there that has MFA turned off. We could pick up on that as well. And then from there, we could utilize that information and share it with our friends over at cyber insurance carriers so your clients could have a validated cyber insurance policy and get that policy faster and cheaper. The other thing that we do here at Cork is a cyber warranty, which is designed to be supplemental financial coverage. And unlike cyber insurance, this is something that you as an MSP could roll into your tech stack and resell to your clients and make a monthly recurring profit on it.
Now, the thing that I like about that is in the discussion that I've had, understanding insurance versus warranty and to help them understand that, look, your insurance isn't going to repay you for all of those incidentals that go along with, recovering from a, incident, ransomware attack or anything like that. The Cork cyber warranty will, I mean, obviously up to a certain point, but those things aren't going to be covered in just your regular insurance policy, right?
Yeah, because a lot of small businesses out there, they think they have cyber insurance, but in often cases, it might be just a little rider policy onto their normal business insurance. So yeah, we have a cyber insurance policy. Great. How much does it cover for ransomware? Well, it doesn't cover ransomware. How much does it cover for wire transfer fraud? Well, it doesn't cover wire transfer fraud. How much does it cover for incident response? Oh, it covers incident response. Great. How much money? $5,000. All right. So what is it? This insurance policy actually covering? So yeah, that's something we see more often than not.
Right. And why has this been such a unique approach in our space?
Yeah, so really, it's a new revenue source for MSPs, especially those that are reselling the cyber warranty, because they could add that into their services stack. So they could approach their client saying, "Hey, Mr. Client, I'm going to sell you Enable for RMM and Bitdefender for EDR and Microsoft for MFA and all these security tools. And I'm so confident in these tools that I'm selling you that I'm backing it with a $100,000 or $500,000 cyber warranty should any of these tools in this stack that I'm selling you fail." So it's a little bit of a differentiator that we're seeing our MSPs offer.
So everything sounds nice, but I'm sure you've gotten pushback from MSPs like me who are like, yeah, that sounds good, maybe not for me and stuff. What have been some of the challenges that MSPs have spoken to you about integrating this into their stack? And I want to preface that by saying that that has changed over the last 2 years, right? That you've gone through a couple iterations of the partner program. So as it stands now, how do you overcome any objection?
Yeah. So the earlier objections that we saw was based on our integrations. When we launched on day one, we had about 4 or 5 different RMMs that we worked with and about 5 or 6 EDR tools that we worked with. Nowadays, and I think I have a slide for this as well, we have over 90 different integrations that we support, from RMM to EDR to backup to MFA, and this list is constantly growing. We're adding around 2 to 3 new vendors a month at this rate, to the point where we actually maxed out some of our integrations. There was no more RMM vendors to integrate with. There was really no more EDR vendors to integrate with. So we're actually expanding this into new categories. So this month we launched a category for SaaS backup, launching with Cloud Ally by OpenText and Drop Suite right off the bat. And we're going to add your Datto SaaS backups, your Axiom SaaS backups, and more tools into this category as well. And then we're also going to be launching additional categories for things like web filtering as well. And this goes well beyond the talk track of cyber warranties and why it's important. In fact, a lot of MSPs that partner with Cork partner with us just for the monitoring alone, because they want to have all their security tools under one roof and see what's installed and what's not installed. So that's what I would say is probably the biggest pivot. Is when we launched, we were a warranty company first, and now we're leading with our monitoring platform there. The warranty is still there; it's still an important component of us, but again, it's an optional add-on. With Chris, and he'll chat with this later on in a little bit. All of his clients are getting the monitoring platform, but not necessarily every single one of his clients are getting the cyber warranty.
Right. Well, Chris, let's go ahead and get to you. And let me just start off by asking, when did you jump on board with Cork, and what made you make that decision?
We have been with Cork now. I guess it was really probably the first year really that it launched. So we've been there from the very beginning. So obviously I had done work with Austin and in the past, and kind of knew a lot of the people that were involved in the Cork organization. So we thought it was just a very unique approach, that there was nothing really out there at the time that was really similar to this. So it really kind of piqued our interest of how we could use this. And we initially looked at it as a way to really help validate our security stack and what we were doing. The extra revenue stream, aspect of it was nice, but our initial approach of looking at it was just to validate, what we were doing with our security stack, and be able to put some financial teeth behind it to show more ROI to our clients.
Now, in your mind, because I want to talk about how I had my onboarding, but when you did your onboarding way back when, how was it for you?
It was really smooth. We really didn't have too many problems in the beginning. We pretty much onboarded. There was a lot of very limited integrations, kind of like Nick had referred to in the beginning, so that wasn't as robust, and so there was some stuff, especially with 365 integrations and so forth. We had to work through some of that, but overall, it was really smooth, and the whole Cork team was very engaged on any problems that we ran into.
All right. And again, full disclosure, folks, I am using Cork. I'm in probably week 3, maybe 4. And the onboarding, I've not even done. Just so that you know. Even though I've taken the summer off, I haven't freed up my schedule that much. So I still have to do that. I do have integrations set up. They all actually, I've done, 3 integrations, my RMM, my threat locker, my patching, and they all went smooth. Cork, actually, on the website, you guys give some pretty detailed instructions and guides, how to set this up, how to connect it, where to go. Who keeps up with all that stuff, Nick?
Yeah, so that's Marcus and our development team. So every time we do a new integration, they always create that knowledge base article, and then from time to time they'll go in there and update them. But usually they're pretty much good. There's not that much that changes. And look, we do have that onboarding team here that's available to help you set up the integrations. But if you're an MSP that's busy and you want to do an integration by yourself at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, we want to make our platform easy enough for you to do that.
Yeah. All right, back to you, Chris. In terms of your integrating this into your stack, the monitoring side, I get, and I can see us just throwing that in the stack and not even telling our customers that it's there. Did you tell your customers?
Yes, we did tell them, and especially the monitoring part, not so much. They don't all know about that yet, but we did tell them about the obviously the warranty piece of it. And now what we do is any new client, it's just part of our standard stack, and so we use it, and it's usually just integrated into our turnkey overall package pricing. So we don't line item it out. but it's just a benefit of them, and we sell it as it's a benefit of you actually having our full cybersecurity stack. That then we stand behind it with. We always do the base $100,000 coverage, and so then we do advertise that. But as far as the monitoring piece itself, we do not advertise that. Other when we do the monitoring or the insurance piece, we do at that point. We actually use that as the add-on because, as you mentioned too before, when you sometimes run the math, some people like we had some pushback as well. Some was like, well, a cybersecurity insurance policy costs me this much, but it's going to cost me this much a month when we weren't just bundling in just to have Cork. And so sometimes the math questions, it doesn't really work out all the time. But so when we add the value add in is that we not only use Cork to cover things insurance won't cover, but we also use it to give you access to immediate funds in the event that something happens. But in addition to that, it also is another set of eyes because we don't believe in checking our own homework. So it also gives somebody else that actually has a vested interest in making sure things are done right, and they're not wanting to have things go wrong in environments. That actually gives us another point of somebody saying, hey, somebody might have turned off 2FA to do something on Nick's account. We noticed it's still turned off. You have X amount of time you need to get this turned back on, or it'll be considered non-compliant. And so so when we add that value back into that conversation, it kind of helps bridge that gap, and it just shows a very well-rounded value prop for our clients.
All right. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from them in terms of, oh, you include that warranty standard? Great. Or do you offer them, hey, for this much more, we can bump that up to 500?
Yeah, we do mention that we can bump it up to 500. It depends a lot of what their upstream insurance coverage looks like from their primary cybersecurity coverage. For us, most of the time, people are in the position where they have their upstream insurance coverages make sense that they're probably not going over above the 100,000 mark. But we do find the $500,000 platform, especially if people do not have very good coverage upstream from that. And also, obviously, we use the platform ourselves as well, but we use on the $500,000 level. Then it does kind of provide a little bit more value. But most of our clients usually are at the 100,000. It's just supplemental to their upstream primary cybersecurity insurance coverage.
All right. And we've got a thing on the screen there talking about the Protect 100 and 500 and showing the differences. Looks like for the additional things you get in the 500 package, incident response, business interruption loss, data recovery, and ransom payment. So, Nick, just go through the differences in terms of incident response. What does that actually mean that they get?
Yeah. So that means we'll pay out up to $500,000 in incident response and remediation related costs, even if it's you as the MSP performing those actions on behalf of your client. So we've actually paid out an MSP, Scott Birmingham and Birmingham Consulting, tens of thousands of dollars because it was him and his team that actually did the incident response during our client's cybersecurity incident. Whereas typically with a cyber insurance policy, in order to get an incident response, payout, you have to be a pre-approved vendor, which could slow things down. With Cork, as the MSP, you're automatically a pre-approved vendor by default. So we could actually be paying you out, in real time, essentially, for the work that you and your team are doing to help fix your client.
Let me sidebar on that. Is that sort of double dipping where we're getting
Yeah, it is. So you're making money when you resell the cyber warranty, and you're making money, by the incident response.
Right.
Again, we want the client to be protected, right? That's not a strong selling feature, but we don't want to kick you while you're down. So in the unlikely event where a client does suffer a breach, yes, you as an MSP can make some money here by doing the incident response.
All right, just checking because I could see one of my customers going to me saying, "Okay, so you're giving us the warranty, but then you're getting paid. That's a nice deal." And I'm like,
it's pretty much guaranteeing that your clients have funds available to pay you as the MSP for the work that you're doing, so you're not left on the hook.
Right. So let me ask this question here: If they're getting the 100, does that mean if there is a ransomware payment that they're not getting covered for that?
That is correct. That is correct. So usually we do see a level of ransomware payments getting covered by a cyber insurance policy. So the way to leverage the $100,000 warranty is have Cork pay off the insurance deductible on that policy, and then insurance will kick in and pay off that ransomware payment. So typically the $100,000 policy is sold as that supplemental gap coverage, kind of like Aflac insurance. That's why we have the duck on this slide. So again, $100,000, perfect for an environment or a small business that already has a well thought out cyber insurance policy. The $500,000 is really designed for clients that need additional coverage, or maybe they don't have any coverage, any cyber insurance whatsoever. This might be a good first step for them, getting them a $500,000 policy.
All right. Chris, how successful have you been in bumping people up to the 500?
To be honest with you, we have not really pushed it that much to bump people up to the 500. We've really kind of just done it supplementing our stack and their cybersecurity insurance. And just like Nick was referring to with the, paying the deductibles. I mean, one of our first deals we did with Cork is we had a larger medical client, and we were able to get them an extra $1 million in cybersecurity insurance coverage with basically no change in their premium. We just upped their deductible to, I think, really ridiculously high. I think we were up to like $50,000 deductible or something. But then it still became a zero deductible policy because the Cork cyber warranty, if they had an event, will pay the 50 grand deductible, and then the insurance connected in. So we were able to get them, I think, $3.5 million insurance policy for basically what was the same cost that they were paying for. I think before they had, it might have been a $2 million. I don't remember if it was one or two. It might have been a $2 million policy. So essentially a little bit over $1 million more, and at pretty much the same cost to them, and while getting the Cork platform protections as well.
All right. I wanted to ask about, you've got this cyber insurance analyzer.
Yeah.
It's still in beta though, right?
It's in beta. We launched it about 4 months ago, so that's probably going to end pretty soon. It's pretty much a stable release at this point. But yeah, I'm happy to talk about that.
Yeah. So I looked at it. I threw my insurance in just to see what it would. No, not mine. I grabbed a client's old one and put it in there. I see what it does. It just kind of gives a nice little summary of everything, and tells what the coverage is, the risk factors and stuff. Is this what you would recommend that we get our clients current insurance policy, and then tell them, hey, look, for this much more we can get you better
Absolutely.
coverage?
So with cyber insurance, like some MSPs that I work with, they make it mandatory for all clients to have a cyber insurance policy. And then some MSPs take it a step further. Not only is it mandatory that you have a cyber insurance policy to do business with my MSP, I need proof. Give me a copy of that policy so I can keep it on file on hand as your MSP. So what those MSPs are starting to do is they do upload it to the Cork Cyber Insurance Policy Analyzer. That way they could, instead of having to read through a 60-page insurance policy, they could read through a page and a half bullet points of this is what's good about the policy, this is what's not so good about the policy, and some blind spots. From there, that's where the MSP sales team can really go in for that upsell opportunity and educate the client on why they might need the $100,000 or $500,000 Cork cyber warranty. Because again, unfortunately, a lot of small businesses out there, they think they have cyber insurance when in reality, it might not be real cyber insurance. Or they might say, oh yeah, I have a $1 million cyber insurance policy, I'm fine. But when you start reading that fine print, there might be a sublimit of $20,000 for ransomware, sublimit, deductibles. So that $1 million policy doesn't become a $1 million policy real fast.
Yeah. So I'm making sure that I've got no client information up there. So here is the bottom half of what I uploaded. And down in the corner where it talks about your policy, Core Protect 100, Core Protect 500, their policy already has all the green checked.
Got it.
So does that mean that, hey, their policy is good and I shouldn't try to get them to do anything more?
It's not necessarily. Overall, we like seeing this all the green check boxes. So their policy is better than some of the other policies that we've seen. Sometimes we only see cyber insurance policies cover things like just incident response, and that's it. Once you see all these green check boxes come in, this is where it becomes a numbers game, where you look at how much they're paying for this policy and what is the deductible on this policy. So, for example, say they're paying an annual premium for $3,000 for this insurance policy, but the deductible on this policy is $5,000, $10,000. That means the policy is really a $13,000 policy because that's their total cost if they need to actually utilize it. That's where the Cork $100,000 warranty and the math there really makes sense, because if you're spending, call it $100 a month on the Cork warranty, now if they need to utilize that cyber insurance policy, they're not paying that $5,000, $10,000 deductible or retention out of pocket.
All right. I'll have to find a worse policy and
Yeah.
see who I can sell there.
Yeah.
All right. The only other things I really notice in there, so your reports that you guys do. So I know the email, just for people that I don't know if I set it up or if it was automatic, that every day an email comes in and says, hey, you've got, new notifications where, hey, all of a sudden this device, like you guys mentioned earlier, hey, what happened to 2FA, or, EDR is no longer on this station. So that's something nice to get that. I mean, yeah, I can go into my dashboard and, search, but to have something come in daily is a good thing. But the other reports that you guys have in terms of gap analysis, compliance summary, I'll be honest, they look okay. I don't know if I would give that to my customer right now until I understand it better. But the gap analysis is probably the easiest one to give them, right?
Yep, absolutely. Chris, have you sent out any reports that we've been generating for you, either during quarterly business reviews or otherwise?
We have sometimes used them in our own reviews. We usually don't send them because we want to explain kind of content, but we're kind of like that with a lot of our reporting, of not just sending it freely out to people without being able to talk through it, because sometimes it causes more questions than answers sometimes. But I would agree with you some that, and I know that's one thing that we've been working on. That was one of the things we saw in the early days, and it continues to develop, is just the UI and reporting stuff. It continues to get better and better. But that was one of the things that we had in the beginning, was reporting, and some other things like that were not quite as developed as we usually like to see. But that most definitely, we continue to see that improve. I mean, it seems like now almost monthly.
Yeah, like last year we didn't have any reports available. Now we have 3 different reports, and you could pre-schedule them. The next release on reports is going to be branding on those reports, so MSPs could have their own logo on it. We have marketing materials you can brand, but being able to brand reports is something I know my development team is working on.
All right, and the dashboards become a lot more usable as well. Like, it's really easy now to sort data and stuff in the dashboards too. That's been a big improvement that we've seen.
Yep, going in and being able to do a dashboard for each client was big, because at first I couldn't figure it out, but shame on me for not doing onboarding, right?
Oh, well, we used it also too. We saw a change in attitude. It was kind of a weird side effect, but for our techs, the sense of urgency of some of these things that are flagged by Cork, it seems to be more a sense of urgency with our tech teams. That's like, hey, these are like possible compliance issues. We need to make sure you get these addressed ASAP, because now they see it as more of a compliant issue that's going to affect if something happens, a possible insurance event or something. So just the general psychology behind it and the attitude, that's one thing that was kind of an unexpected side effect that we've kind of seen with our team.
So one of the questions that I have for you, Chris, is, when I'm selling, Cork to new MSPs that aren't using the platform yet, sometimes some of the pushback I get is, hey, I'm an MSP. I've been in business 10 plus years and I run a tight ship. I have all my tools in order. I have some really great technicians, nothing's slipping through the cracks on my watch. So Chris, were you surprised when you first got onboarded? Because I imagine you run a tight ship as well. Were you surprised with how many things were slipping through the cracks that Cork was able to, find for you?
Oh yeah, we're always surprised, of all the things that are out there. And I think that's a big thing in the MSP space that we can all do better to serve the clients better, is to admit that we're always going to be things. There's always room for improvement. There's things we're going to miss, and not be afraid of doing self auditing and auditing our own clients and doing like third party evaluations and stuff. So we continue to find things constantly that we're just there with as much stuff as we have going on, as much noise and as busy we are. It's easy to miss those things. And I think people are trying for perfection so much that, I mean, my whole goal is I'd rather my third party person catch it than the bad actor find that hole. And then now I have a whole nother problem. So I think we all as a community need to be more open to third parties kind of checking our work and helping us all keep an eye on the customers, what's best for them, and watching all of our backs.
Hey, Chris, do you guys at your place, do you put all of your own endpoints into your dashboard so that you yourself are a client in the dashboard?
Yes, we are, and we actually have full Cork 500,000 platform. Well, so we use the platform for ourselves on the MSP side as well, and so it helps us spot on internal stuff also. And that's another selling point to clients is we always like to tell clients that we drink our own Kool-Aid. The security tools and the things that we're using for you, third party audits and stuff like that, we do it to ourselves as well, and we tell them real transparently that you'll be amazed at things we'll find in your environments that then we can correct. But I said we do the same thing in ours, and that's why we try to do continual monitoring and improvement. But yeah, we most definitely use it in our own environment as well.
Okay, because I was going to say one of the things about this is we put all of our stuff in all of our dashboards and products as well. So we're in our own RMM, our own EDR, and all of that. So we're able to pull up, in Cork, our business, and we can print a report and say, hey, look, here we are. We missed a workstation. So, we do it too. So great.
Yeah, it
All
gives
right,
you a lot
guys.
of feedback. It was even kind of funny. Like we were all on an advisory board meeting with Cork one time. We're talking about business email compromise, and all of us that are in this group are pretty well established MSPs that I'd say most of us, for the best, they have our act together. But it was funny, all the people in there, and then the guys in some of the leadership in there. It's like, well, it's interesting because from the back end, you guys remember we have all your data, so. There's a lot of these things that you're not doing consistently. And then everybody pretty much had to admit, it's like, yeah, we know we are really working on those areas more, but it really does kind of give in a positive way, that feedback from both sides, and really helps you kind of be more honest about where do you stand and where do your clients stand, gives you some good visibility.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, one of the things that I think kept coming up when I talk to people, I don't know if you've heard this, I'm assuming you have. But people always asked about the payout evidence. And I know that you mentioned earlier that you just paid out for an MSP. But in terms of MSPs that have had incidences, do you guys, I mean, I know you can't really give details about every payout and stuff, but what type of payout evidence do you have to share with people?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So we've been in business for about 2 years now, and we've actually paid out our warranty claims 4 times. Actually, every single warranty claim that has come through to Cork, we've actually paid out on. So we haven't had to deny a single claim to our platform yet. So we're super excited about that. We have a couple different case studies on our websites. We actually hosted a webinar panel with 3 different MSPs, all of which have gotten a payout through Cork. That's on our YouTube page as well. It's a variety of different use cases that we paid out on. One was us paying out the incident response to an MSP that performed the work. Another payout was for a wire transfer fraud attack because of a phishing incident, a spoofing incident. Cyber insurance was not able to pay out that claim. They didn't cover it as part of their policy. The bank was unable to reverse the funds because it was 2 weeks after the fact when they even noticed the funds were in the wrong place. But luckily, because that client had the Cork warranty, we were able to reimburse them the full $21,000 in a matter of a few days. So there are, several different examples of us paying out on our warranty. And just to give an example here, we've generated around 3 million different compliance events since launching Cork, 2 years ago. So 3 million compliance alerts of EDR being offline or MFA being turned off. And that's really been able to help our MSPs with their security posture because they're going through all those compliance events fixing their clients' environments before the bad guys are able to attack. And then obviously, there's still some things that squeak on through, unfortunately, but Cork has been able to pay out, every single time that an MSP needed to utilize our claims.
All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming on here, and thank you for being candid with the questions that I asked and your answers. I appreciate that. Chris, let me let you go first on our way out. Is there anything you would like to say for an MSP that might be on the fence, maybe not quite sure if they want to use this? What would you say to them?
I would say really just give it a good look, because there's a lot of different MSPs using it in different formats. But for us, it was a really good way to validate the behaviors that you're wanting to drive in customer environments. It gives another third party that's also validating that your tools and what you're using to put money behind it. And so I think that helps, and that's helped with us with a lot of conversations, especially with CFOs and other people that want to say, what's more of a financial, what am I going to get back quicker? Looking for quicker ROIs and value in the products. I'd say that's kind of an angle to look at it. That's a little bit not the just traditional levy. Am I going to make extra revenue directly off of this product? Yes, you can, but it can also help you drive and close deals of your overall stack easier too by adding this component.
Very nice. Nick, what's next for Cork? What's coming down the road that people might need to be made aware of?
Yeah, great question. So it's just going to be more categories that we're able to monitor, even if it's not related to insurance and warranty. We do want to be that single pane of glass for all the security tools in your tech stack. That's why we added the SaaS backup category recently. We're adding a web filtering category in the near future as well, because we want to be able for you to log into one console and see which of your endpoints and users have certain pieces of software installed or not installed. One of the use cases I ran into last week was an MSP swapping out their RMM tools. And with the Cork platform, we're able to instantly determine which of those endpoints are on the old RMM tool, which of those endpoints are on the new RMM tool, which endpoints got missed entirely and don't have any RMM software installed on it, and which endpoints have overlap where you're paying for two pieces of the same software. So yeah.
All right. We probably should have talked about the fact that one of the things that this tool does, most people go to their RMM first in terms of, supporting their endpoints and stuff. But if your EDR is in a separate dashboard or your, products, you might be monitoring them in a dashboard, but they're not in your RMM. This Cork dashboard will tell you all of that. So if you've got 100 endpoints, but only 95 are showing up in your RMM, you're missing something, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, like another use case that I ran into last week was an MSP that actually uses two different RMM tools. They use one RMM tool for workstations and another RMM tool for mission critical servers. And we're able to see, all right, where those endpoints lie, all in the same dashboard.
Nice. All right. So did I sign a commitment with you?
So that's what's great about Cork and the monitoring platform is it's month to month. You can cancel anytime. So we give our MSPs a 14-day free trial on the monitoring platform. After that, it's month to month. You can cancel anytime. If you sign up for our proof of concept, please book an onboarding call with us. We'll show you how all the cool things work. Yes, it's easy enough where you could do it yourself. I know that you did it, but take the half hour and let us really wow you out with all the data that we're able to collect. But yeah, for Marvin, for whatever reason, if we do a podcast down the line and you're not a partner, that's on us. That's why we're always month-to-month terms, is because we want to earn your business each and every month with our Active Risk Insights monitoring platform.
Well, I asked that because I wanted to know how much time I had to give an update down the road, whether it's 6 months or a year from now. But obviously, I will reach back out to you. I'll see you. I'm assuming I'll see you at a conference later this year.
Yeah, probably going to DattoCon, probably going to IT Nation. So yeah, definitely see you down on the road in your backyard there in sunny Florida.
That's right. That's where I'll
And
be.
Nick, one thing I thought of too that is also helpful that we've used a use case scenario is, say when you're onboarding a new client that just offboarded from another MSP, it's also easy to use the platform too to find rogue RMM agents and stuff that you think have been uninstalled from endpoints and stuff too. And also when there's events, like we do a lot of co-managed IT. And so some people might have another RMM tool or something, and there's a security event like with Screen Connect or something like that. The Cork platform was really helpful with us finding endpoints that had those at risk things in their environment, so we could actually notify our co-managed IT people that, hey, you need to look at your ConnectWise instance and things like that too. And a lot of times we thought we didn't have a whole lot of those, and then Cork would send us an email and be like, well, actually, you got 200 of them or whatever. And so then we're like, oh crap, we really need to do this. So that's just another use case scenario that we actually have experienced.
All right, very nice. I'm sure I'll come across something like that soon in my travels. But again, Nick, Chris, guys, thank you very much for coming on. We will revisit and see how my dashboard shakes out here over the coming months.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us, Marv. Enjoyed it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all, folks, for tuning in and catching this episode of the IT Business Podcast. This is a video-only special edition. So if you want to share this with anybody, bring them the link here on the YouTube, and we'll be back with more down the road. We'll see you soon. Holla.